bringing you the latest news from around the world, and here at home I'm Sandro Ferdinando. And before we get into your stories in detail, let's take a quick look at your headlines.
Former Ambassador Udayanga Weeratunga named a wanted fugitive. Fertilizer subsidy reinstated. Move to lift ban on glyphosate for tea and rubber. Joint opposition calls for investigation into the death of school principal during leadership training. Pakistan Supreme Court rules ousted Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif cannot lead his party.
වැරදි කරන කිසි කෙනෙක් මම රකින්න ලෑස්ති නැහැ.
වෙන කණ්ඩායමක් ආවොත් මේ නිදහස නැති වෙනවා.
අද ඩොලරය 159යි.
මේගොල්ලෝ සුදු කරපටි මංකොලකාරී.
මේ මම ඇමරිකානු පුරවැසියෙක්.
A very good evening to you, our viewers here at News First. Now, the validity of the continuation of the national government is once again being debated in Parliament. Let's have a listen to some of the excerpts from the parliamentary debate today.
This outbound training centre is a privately owned firm. The entire teaching fraternity is stunned by the quality and standard of this place.
Now, addressing a media briefing in Colombo today, the National Freedom Front's Muhammad Muzammil commented on those who continue to remain with the national government.
Sri Lanka Nidahas Pakse how?
Who can remain in the unity government formed by the SLFP? Those who represent the SLFP but hope to represent the UNP one day can remain in this government without an issue. Those who are set to retire from politics in 2020 with big chunks of money can also remain without an issue. Those who continue to remain in the government are people who want to support this unity government. This drama is nearing its conclusion. Just to show the world that it's not over, they are planning a cabinet reshuffle. This is like putting on makeup on an old prostitute and trying to make her a virgin.
Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, the continuation of the national government was debated in Parliament today. Now, MP Dinesh Gunawardena, representing the opposition faction, and then the government faction also expressed their opinions on the continuation of this national government today in Parliament. Let's have a listen to those excerpts from Parliament right now.
A proposal was made to establish a national government. Explaining this proposal, the Prime Minister and the government said an agreement was reached. But such a document has not been tabled as yet. A government like this can only be considered valid if such a document exists.
The Honourable Prime Minister made a statement in Parliament on the national government. So did the General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance. So this national government remains. It is unfair to raise this issue over and over again.
This issue was debated all day yesterday. Facts were presented as well. I sought legal advice as well.
There is a political, constitutional and social angle to this. They are always responding to the political angle of this. They are not asking for this national government to be dissolved. But there is a constitutional angle to this. So they are stakeholders of it. It is true that General Secretary Mahinda Amaravira made a statement about this. But Dinesh Gunawardena is the Deputy Chairman of the Alliance. He is also a stakeholder of the Alliance.
If there is a written agreement, it has to be tabled for the sake of us being kept informed. If not, even your position as Speaker is invalid.
The political factor here is that a week ago they tried to establish a government with the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The joint opposition said that they will not accept ministerial positions but will help their SLFP's Nimal Siripal de Silva become the Prime Minister. They are shedding tears now because that political tactic was defeated.
The basis for that proposal was the fact that you informed this Parliament of a national government. We could resolve this issue if that document is tabled in Parliament.
The Constitution has not been violated during this process. You are acting according to the Constitution. This is actually a political issue. It would be better if that issue is resolved. So your position as Speaker and this national government is valid.
Former Minister Kumara Welgama, one of the strongmen in the former government, also commented on the national government.
From what I understand, the SLFP will continue this marriage with the UNP. I am asking our people not to be fooled any longer. Why is there a need to keep doing it? There is no point in talking about it. We have a bigger responsibility now. Whatever they say, there will be another election in 10 to 15 months.
Now, in the latest developments surrounding the controversial MIG deal, former Sri Lankan ambassador to Russia, Udhyanga Weeratunga, has been named as a wanted fugitive by the authorities in Sri Lanka, the United Arab Emirates and Interpol. According to highly informed sources, Sri Lankan investigators and officials have received official confirmation that Udhyanga Weeratunga was in fact detained and questioned by Dubai authorities on 4th of January. This followed his attempt to leave Dubai, and he was released pending further action. Following the issue of the Interpol red notice applied for and obtained by the CID, he was summoned to the Dubai CID. Thereafter, Weeratunga had defaulted on appearing before the police and had fled his home in Dubai and gone underground. He is now sought by the Dubai police and is a wanted fugitive in the eyes of Sri Lanka, the UAE and Interpol. Sri Lankan officials confirmed to Newsfirst they are treating the Udhyanga Weeratunga matter as purely an investigative and law enforcement issue, in respect of which a magistrate has issued a warrant of arrest. Udhyanga Weeratunga was listed as a suspect by the FCID because of his involvement in a massive fraud amounting to over $7 million used to purchase 4 MiG fighter aircraft and overhauling of another 4 jets used in the war against the LTTE. According to sources, the seller of these aircrafts had informed Sri Lankan investigators they received only $7 million, whereas the Air Force, through their People's Bank account, sent $14 million. Sources said the sale had been approved by then Defence Secretary, and Udhyanga Weeratunga had served as the intermediary. The agreement between the Air Force and the seller and his agent had been signed in Colombo at the Air Force headquarters and at Udhyanga Weeratunga's official address when he was the Sri Lankan ambassador in Russia. Udhyanga Weeratunga is wanted following multifaceted investigations done by the police FCID. Udhyanga Weeratunga on several previous occasions posted on Facebook that a red notice was never issued against him and it was only a blue notice that was issued by Interpol. However, Interpol has now named him as a wanted fugitive. Newsfirst will obviously continue to monitor the latest developments surrounding the MiG deal and former Sri Lankan ambassador to Russia, Udhyanga Weeratunga. We will report these facts to you as and when it happens. And right now, it's back to Sandhu in the news studio.
Continuing in more local news, according to police headquarters, the government analyst has confirmed that the explosion which took place in a bus in Kargola Diyatalava was triggered by a hand grenade. Now, the police headquarters added further investigations are being carried out. A senior police official stated that 2 witnesses testified that the grenade exploded when an individual seated in the middle of a 3-seater row got up. The investigations also further revealed that the individual seated in the middle was an army officer. It is further reported that the officer in question is currently receiving treatment and will make a statement once he recovers. The Diyatalava Hospital Director Ranjit Amarkun also said that 9 others that were injured in the explosion are currently receiving treatment at the hospital. He further stated that the 2 soldiers are currently receiving further treatment in the intensive care unit. Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Amari Wijewardene, has decided to end her tenure as Sri Lanka's representative in the UK.
Issuing a media release, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said High Commissioner Wijewardene will conclude her contract on her own volition by the 31st of March 2018. Meanwhile, Minister Councillor of Defence attached to the Sri Lanka High Commission in London, Brigadier Priyanka Fernando, returned to the island today. Brigadier Fernando landed in Sri Lanka around 12:33 this afternoon.
The Ministry of Agriculture has decided to ensure that fertilizer subsidies will be provided for 5 selected crops by the 15th of March.
A decision was reached to issue the money required for paddy farmers as well as corn, soy, chili, big onions and potato farmers to buy fertilizer directly into their bank accounts before they begin farming activities. There won't be a fertilizer shortage because the government will be purchasing 80% of the fertilizer requirement. Only 20% of the requirement will be handled by the private sector.
The National Economic Council, which convened yesterday under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena, concluded that the introduction of a new policy on fertilizer subsidies could minimize a majority of the issues that are currently being experienced. Attention has been focused on reinstating the fertilizer subsidy instead of providing money, and also on ensuring a shortage of fertilizer does not occur once more. The Council has also deliberated on the use of glyphosate as a fertilizer and concluded current policies on the usage of the fertilizer should be amended and new policies should be introduced. Thereby, a study will be conducted on the usage of glyphosate on tea and rubber estates.
Meanwhile, parliamentarian Roshan Ranasinghe speaking in Polonnaruwa commented on the National Economic Council.
මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන ජනාධිපතිතුමා ජාතික ආර්ථික සභාව කියලා රැස් කළා තියෙනවා.
President Maithripala Sirisena has summoned something called the National Economic Council. In addition to the President, all the other members in the National Economic Council are members from the footnote gang. Those who have deals with the bond scam are in this council. So, more than half of this council comprises of those who looted the central bank. Their thievery started from the central bank and went until the Meetaramulla garbage dump. There is no need to speak about it again. Therefore, people who looted from the central bank and the Meetaramulla garbage dump are in this National Economic Council. So, God bless this country.
Sri Lanka has moved up 4 places from 95th to 91st position in the Corruption Perceptions Index released by the Transparency International for the year 2017. Sri Lanka's score has only risen by 2 points from 36 in 2016 to 38, representing the slow rate of progress.
This year's Corruption Perceptions Index by Transparency International highlights that the majority of countries are making little or no progress in ending corruption, while further analysis shows journalists and activists in corrupt countries risking their lives every day in an effort to speak out. Transparency International Sri Lanka has expressed concern that Sri Lanka's current CPI score of 38 is the same score that prevailed in 2014. According to Transparency International Sri Lanka, the country has failed to show any significant progress in its CPI score year on year for the past 5 years. An increase or decrease of 6 points or more represents a significant change.
Here we have seen a 2-point increase, which is illustrative of the fact that whilst the score has improved, it has improved very slowly, and the improvement is only fair at best. And I think what this also highlights is the fact that the perception of public sector corruption is also stagnant. We realize that on many occasions we see that agencies have been strengthened, but actually has there been much difference in the way in which implementation occurs?
Among the SAARC member states, Bhutan leads with a score of 67, followed by India with 40 points. Since its inception in 1995, the Corruption Perceptions Index is the leading global indicator of public sector corruption.
Parliament discussed an incident where a school principal died during a leadership training program.
A proposal was made to establish a national government. Explaining this proposal, the Prime Minister and the government said an agreement was reached. But such a document has not been tabled as yet. A government like this can only be considered valid if such a document exists.
The Honourable Prime Minister made a statement in Parliament on the national government. So did the General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance. So this national government remains. It is unfair to raise this issue over and over again.
This issue was debated all day yesterday.
Architect 2018, an exhibition organized by the Sri Lanka Institute of Architects, was declared open by President Maithripala Sirisena yesterday.
The inauguration ceremony saw the participation of a number of local and foreign stakeholders, as well as the Minister of Megapolis and Western Development.
Although we have been experiencing uncertainties in the political arena from time to time, we as a nation have not given up our journey. But due to mishandling of the law and order, we experience a drawback in our values, ethics, culture and expectations. Due to misguidance of the professional advice, many wrong decisions were made and incur heavy cost to the nation due to mismanagement of the finances.
The exhibition was declared open on its second day today by Minister of Housing and Construction Sajith Premadasa.
When the Statistics Department in the present administration itself admits that the richest 20% of our country enjoys more than 50% of national income, and when the poorest 20% of our country enjoys a mere 4% of national income, we have to admit the wealth generation, the wealth creation model that our country practices has been an utter failure. We have to ensure that we embark on a prudent, holistic economic approach which ensures that we create economic growth.
As highlighted earlier, Parliament discussed an incident where a school principal died during a leadership training program. Let's have a look again.
This outbound training centre is a privately owned firm. The entire teaching fraternity is stunned by the quality and standard of this place.
As subject minister, I have taken measures to investigate the matter immediately. I can make a statement only after the report is available. Tenders are called for from the private sector and provided. If something wrong had taken place, we will take strict action on this. We are told the principal in question was involved in the cadet corps. This was not something new for her. She had volunteered for this and many have not undergone the activity.
It is important to decide the activities that are available for a 53-year-old person. This is the third person to die in such a manner. The quality needs to be looked into and managed accordingly. This is what we propose.
Before 2015, some principals were given training involving the army. Some were even awarded the rank of colonel. However, after 2015, the system was changed and it was made less tough for the participants. However, we will inquire into the matter, and if anyone needs to be terminated, we can do that.
You are young, and if you are asked to climb down a rope, you can do it with ease. However, if you, the speaker, is asked to come down, that will lead to a great issue.
Reuters, quoting a Chinese news portal, reports that 11 Chinese warships have sailed into the East Indian Ocean this month amid a constitutional crisis in the Maldives. We will have a look at more after this short commercial break. Stay tuned.
ගොවිතැන් කරලා තමයි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. අලි ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන ගස් කොළන් ටික කඩාගෙන කාගෙන යනවා. අපිට ඒ තරම් හිංසා කරන බොණ්ඩ වතුර ටික නැහැ.
Going beyond providing basic needs like clean drinking water to building livelihoods for a safer, more secure and more prosperous tomorrow. A humanitarian endeavour like no other. Gammadda.
Gammadda. අප්පාච්චි ගම්මැද්ද ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක හැමදාම බලනවා. කළ හැමදාම කියනවා දැන් අපි මේකට කීයක් හරි ඩිපොසිට් කරන්න ඕනේ මේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකට කියලා. අප්පාච්චි නැති වෙලා හින්දා අපිට මේ ඇත්තටම ෆියුනරල් එකට කසින්ස් ලොක්කෝම එහෙම එකතු කරලා දුන සල්ලි අපි ඇත්තටම පැත්තකින් තිබ්බ මේ ගම්මැද්ද ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකට දෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා.
තනියම හොයාගෙන ගිහිල්ලා කරන්න බෑනේ. ඉතින් සිරසෙන් මේ කරනකොට අපිට හිතුණා මේක තමයි හොඳම අවස්ථාව අපිට මේ වගේ දෙයකට ආධාර කරන්න.
ගම්මැද්ද කරනවා බොහොම ආසයි. මට විශ්වාසයි 100%ක්ම විශ්වාසයි. තව ඉදිරියට තමයි ඉදිරියට තවත් මම උදව් කරන්න. රෑ දෙකට ඉඳන් මම හීනෙන් දැකලා හිටා මම නැගිට්ටා. ඉවහා මොකද ඊ රාත්‍රියත් හීනෙන් නැගිට්ටා. මම ඉතින් මේගොල්ලන්ට කිව්වේ නෑ දැන් අද තමයි කීවේ. මෙහෙම යන්න ඕනේ. මේ විදියයි මට උගක් ආසයි.
අපිට පෙවුනා සිරස මේ වැඩසටහන ඉතාම සාර්ථකව නිසි ඒ ආධාර උපකාර ලැබෙන්න ඕන පුද්ගලයන්ම සොයාගෙන කරන නිසා
අධ්‍යයනය කළා ඒගොල්ලන්ට සහයෝගයක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් මොන විදිහද කියලා ඉතාම සංවිධානාත්මක විදිහට සකස් කරලා මේ වැඩසටහන ගෙනියනවා.
මේ වගේ මිනිස්සු මේ රටේ ඉන්නවද කියන එකත් අපිට ඇත්තම දැනගන්න ලැබුණේ සම්මුන්නාන්සේලාගේ මේ වැඩසටහන.
මගේ ETF එකෙන් මට ලැබිච්ච සල්ලි වලින් තිබුණ ගාණක් මට පුළුවන් විදියට දීලා යන්න තමයි මම අද ආවේ සිරසට. අපේ දේශපාලඥයන්ගෙන් ඇස් ඇරෙයි එතකොට අඩුම ගානේ ඒගොල්ලෝ කරන්න නැති වැඩ අපි කරලා පෙන්නුවත් මිනිස්සු වශයෙන් රටක් විදියට අපිට ඉස්සරහට යන්න පුළුවන් කියලා මම හිතනවා.
What you just heard were views that were expressed by people who contributed towards the Gammat the 1000 Projects initiative in whatever way they could. People from all walks of life joined hands with us in changing lives across the country. Well, we reported to you of heartfelt stories of people across the country who lacked basic infrastructure that they needed to uplift their basic lives. Well, this prompted many across the country to give whatever they could. Big and small donors flocked here at the Gammat Secretariat to help people and help others, and by contributing towards the Gammat the 1000 Projects initiative. Well, up next is just one such project that was undertaken through the Gammat the 1000 Projects initiative, and people from Madekanda, a village located in the outskirts of Balangoda, walked with pride and contentment today down a series of steps which was dilapidated for over 20 years. And through this project, we were able to reconstruct it. That is through your donation.
Just one thought will make a difference to light up the sky for them all. Wasted tears roll down their faces, shone from the eyes in your heart. Just one thought will make a difference to light up the sky for them
ළමකට ඉස්කෝලේ යන්නත් බෑ ඉස්සරහට යනවා මට ගුඩි යන්න ඕනේ සපත්තුවක් දාගෙන.
Wasted tears roll down their faces, shone from the eyes in your heart. Just one thought will make a difference.
මේ පඩිපෙළේ ගමන් කරනකොට පඩිපෙළක් තියෙනවද කියලාවත් දැනෙන්නේ නැතරම්ම පහසුයි.
මේ වගේ උතුම් වැඩ නැවතත් අප වෙනුවෙන් ලබා දෙන්නෙන් මා ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
අපේ දැන් සපත්තු වල මඩ ගෑවෙන්නේ අපිට ගෙදර ඉඳන් උනන් පාසල් යන්න පුළුවන්.
සිතස ගම්මැද්දට හත් දෙක එකතු කොල්ලා වඳින්න ඕන කරපු මේ වැඩේට.
Well, you saw visuals of people who have expressed their sentiments about their life before and after the Gammat the Project initiative had undertaken a construction. Well, this was done through your donations, and we also need to remind that there were people at a time where we live, when people hesitate to give up their piece of land, even an inch of land, there were people who flocked at the Gammat the Secretariat to give up and sacrifice their lands for the greater good. Here's a clip of that.
ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් සිරස ආයතනයේ වැඩ කරන බව පෙනියන ඉතින් අපි මේ ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් මේ කුඹුර මගේ මම සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම දුන්නා මේ පාලන ඉදිකිරීමට. මම මේකෙන් තමයි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. ඇත්තටම මම මුගක් සන්තෝෂ වුණා.
Up next is another initiative which was undertaken through the 1000 Projects initiative, and this happened in Pilikumura, and our own Prasanna Atukorla, who is a fellow comrade of Newsfirst, he may be seated right now at the consoles down in running the bulletin, the news bulletin right now, but he was also part of this great initiative. These are the views that were expressed by him.
Wasted tears roll down their faces, shone from the eyes.
ගම්මැද්දරා අපේ රටේ දුක් විඳින
Through Gammadda, we got an opportunity to serve the people of our country who have been facing numerous issues. Gammadda is a very special experience in my journalistic career, which spans 18 years. Through Gammadda, I received an opportunity to serve my motherland.
Well, before these initiatives and these projects took place, we had been receiving numerous letters, and through these letters we were able to go to the nook and corners of the country in order to help those who are helpless. Well, as you can see, these were letters which we received, numerous letters we received over just 2 days. These were requests that were made to build bridges, roads, schools and infrastructure, everything that they need for villages, and these have been done with the help of the big and small donors who help us help others. Well, these were just letters that were received over the past 2 days, and through all the projects that were undertaken through the Gammadda 1000 project initiative, we were able to compile books that were needed in order for people to see the lives that you were able to change with your own money and donations, big or small. But what we need to remind you, the viewers, is that it's not about, we don't just believe in building bridges between villages. We believe in linking people from all walks of life, building bridges between people from all walks of life. And that is what you have been a part of throughout this Gammadda 1000 project, 1000 initiatives that were undertaken through Newsfirst. So thank you, and this gratitude, and we are extending our gratitude to all of those who have been donating through the Gammadda 1000 project initiative. Thank you very much. Back to the studio.
That's a wrap up Primetime News. Do take care and good night.